With the trade deadline only a few days away, the Lakers are shopping around to actively add pieces to their roster, and this Brooklyn Nets trio keeps coming up in recent reports. What's good, y'all, and welcome to another Lakers Digest video. I'm your host, Okechi Apakama, and before we get into everything of today's contents of today's video, I want to bring your attention to something. There is 90% of you guys who have recently watched our videos who are not subscribed to the channel just yet. And if you guys want more of that Laker news, Laker reactions, trade rumors, game recaps, just every and all things LA Lakers, you guys want to come right here to Lakers Digest to make it your home for all of it. And with the trade deadline only a few days away, you guys want to make sure you subscribe to Lakers Digest so you guys do not miss any of the updates. Now, with that out the way, guys, let's hop straight into the topics of today's video, guys, as the Lakers are still interested in Nets players. So, the Lakers seemingly have a bevy of options to sort of upgrade and change their roster, and they've been looking kind of throughout the league for different types of players, whether it's a point guard, a backup point guard, a point of attack defender, 3-and-D person, or a backup big. And all of those players are kind of on different teams, and it's been hard for the Lakers to sort of like match with one team to find that. But there is one team that the Lakers have been in talks with, and it's the Brooklyn Nets of their trio of Royce O'Neal, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Dorian Finney-Smith seem to be the guys the Lakers have been in talks with. So, according to Shams Charania in his FanDuel TV series, he talked about, once again, about the Lakers being connected to that Nets trio of, like I said, Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Royce O'Neal. And then he also noted that the Lakers still have Dejounte Murray as their top priority. However, it seems all indications that if a deal does not go through with Murray, that Nets offer would be their second likeliest avenue. So, with that news kind of there, that the Lakers are looking to add these sort of trio of these players, it makes sense because the Lakers can get a little bit more bang for their buck instead of going to different teams to try to find what they need. And each of these guys kind of bring something that the Lakers need. As a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, he's a bigger 3-and-D wing. He can guard guys 2 through 4, and then you have another guy like Royce O'Neal, same type of deal. He's a little shorter, about like 6'4", so he can guard different types of guys, whether it's some point guards up into some power forwards. And then you have Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a guy who's been a point guard most of his career and is a serviceable starter for some. And out of all three of these guys, like I said, it would make sense for the Lakers to possibly try to make a deal like this. But for me, the deal breaker is Spencer Dinwiddie, as he's been a guy that's been very up and down in his career. And yes, when he is at his best, he can be very electric. He can be a guy that can really change the game for you. But he just, to me, hasn't shown enough of that in his career to sort of warrant a trade of this caliber, especially trading away a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who has been playing lights out within this past month for the Los Angeles Lakers. And then the Nets also said, according to Woj, so the Nets are also looking for trade offers for those three guys with other teams, Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, and Spencer Dinwiddie. And Brooklyn is expected to sell their veterans, but currently there isn't any moves on the horizon. So that's why the Nets are kind of in the aura looking towards like the Los Angeles Lakers, as those guys are all expiring contracts, so you would want to get that money off the books so they can sort of build around their two young forwards that they've got in Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, now also including their big man that they've got, Nick Claxton. So you want to build your team around all of those guys, and having these sort of like a little bit, they're not old guys, but like mid-30s type of players, sort of guys who are like not out their prime, but like nearing the edge of it. So the Nets want to get ahead of that and probably get some assets, some young players back so they can build around those younger guys they have on the roster. So the Lakers seemingly like they've been looking to upgrade, so that's why those two teams have been in talks. But like I said, for me, like it's just not the correct deal. I do like guys like Royce O'Neal and Dorian Finney-Smith, as those are guys that can help the Lakers, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and then they're able to stretch the floor because their other thing that they can do is shoot the three ball, especially in those corners, which is very much needed when you're playing on a team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So those two guys to me make some sense, but Dinwiddie, like I said, is the deal breaker. At least with Finney Smith and Royce O'Neal, those are two guys that we've seen before in the playoffs and play in high-level situations and play well. Royce O'Neal with Utah, and then Dorian Finney-Smith with the Dallas Mavericks. But Spencer Dinwiddie, I don't believe, has that track record, and you don't want to have to relearn this, as we kind of went this a little bit through last season with D'Angelo Russell and actually most of the Laker roster, with the exception of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, sort of like learning how to maneuver and elevate their play in the playoffs. And that, I think, last season, it really helped guys like Hachimura and Reaves, and even D'Angelo Russell, as he struggled a little bit towards the end. He came out with a new set of fire this season of what he needs to do and what he needs to do to elevate his play in those higher level situations. If you were to trade for a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, you're gonna have to relearn that all again. And Spencer Dinwiddie isn't as young as D'Angelo Russell, so you're trading for a little bit of an older player. And then that also changes things as well because he is an expiring contract. So when you're trading this, you're essentially overhauling your team because you're going to have to match money. So a deal would have to include D'Angelo Russell and possibly Rui Hachimura. And I'm not too sure if the Lakers want to make that caliber of trade, especially with sort of like the happenings with most of their defenders on the roster, because they've had 3 injuries currently with Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, and Cam Reddish. All 3 of those guys share one trait that the Lakers sorely need, and that's point of attack defense. So to me, this isn't the deal for the Los Angeles Lakers to make. If you can somehow try to get a Royce O'Neal or Finney Smith away without giving up too much, I think that's a deal that you could possibly try to make. But if you're the Lakers, you have to try to add to this team and not subtract from it and really reshape things. Because the Lakers, especially during this last month, have really tried to started to find a little bit of their stride on the offensive side of the ball. But Shams also did name somebody else in that report, and that's Dejounte Murray, who's been talked about left and right and center for all these like Laker rumors. But it seems like a Dejounte Murray trade seems less likely. So Dejounte Murray has been a guy, like I said, which has been talked about with the Los Angeles Lakers. There was reports about an initial offer of D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Hood-Schifino, a first-round pick from 2029, and then more draft compensation, which is likely pick swaps of that nature. So there was initial talks of that, and then things really stalled out between the Hawks and Lakers because the Hawks were pretty dead set on getting Austin Reaves, and then the Lakers were at impasse were saying no, they don't want to give up Austin Reaves. So that's why those teams kind of stalled out talks and haven't really been conversating too much. But with a couple days on the trade deadline, maybe things could come back to the table, and maybe the Hawks lower their asking prices as if they want to trade Dejounte Murray. They do not have to trade Dejounte Murray, as this guy is in the middle of his contract, and they can keep him towards the offseason and possibly get a better deal for him at the draft or even the beginning of free agency. So the Hawks, it kind of depends on what they want to do there. They're still hovering around that playoff spot, that play-in spot. So them making the playoffs would be good for possibly their fan base, and you add some excitement, add that playoff intensity type game. But I don't think they believe that grouping of Trey Murray and Dejounte Murray is going to work. That's why they've been active in these trade talks. But besides the Lakers and the Utah Jazz, no other teams have really come to the table with any offers that are worthwhile for the Atlanta Hawks. So we'll see what happens here within the next couple of days. Dejounte Murray, while he has his positives for his point of attack defense, and then just like the way he's been playing at the beginning of this season, he's kind of dropped off a little bit. So Dejounte Murray, who's shooting a career high 39% from 3, and he's suddenly dropped recently in the past couple of games down to 36% 38.8, and it's because he's been shooting 1 for 18 from three in his past couple of games for the Atlanta Hawks. They were able to win those games despite his poor 3-point shooting, but that kind of changes things, I think, for the Los Angeles Lakers, because 3-point shooting like that can be kind of finicky, and then when you come to LA, it's a different type of pressure that you need to have. While Dejounte Murray has had a bunch of clutch shots this season, especially for the Atlanta Hawks, and Atlanta can get pretty rowdy, it's not like playing in LA, where you kind of have to have that different type of thinking. You can't really think too much about the outside noise because that outside noise is going to be there regardless, and then I am not too sure that Dejounte Murray would be able to adapt to that really quickly, because we would need him to adapt to that and also replace what was lost in that starting lineup there with D'Angelo Russell, who, like I said, has been playing extremely well, and it's been the reason why the Lakers offense has looked a lot better in the past month, because of his 3-point shooting and his playmaking. It's really hard to replace that. And so we'll see if the Lakers will be willing to make that deal. Just let us know down there in the comments if should the Lakers make that deal for that trio, and then just be okay with the drawbacks of a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, and make that deal for like Finney Smith and Royce O'Neal because you need that point of attack defense, or should they still keep waiting on these the Hawks for them to make a deal with them and possibly lower their asking price for Dejounte Murray and make that deal. So let us know what you guys think in the comments what the Lakers should do. I think it's the Lakers should possibly not even do any of those deals. They should try for something a little bit smaller with Gabe Vince's contract and use that, and then a couple of second round picks to trade and possibly find something around the edges for the Los Angeles Lakers, because I think they're finally starting to gel just a little bit here. But like I said, let us know what you guys think in the comments. I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.